Hello, everyone. We're Matt and Lisa Jacobson.
And this is Faithful Life Podcast, Marriage Weekend Edition, where every Friday we take just a few minutes to talk about one simple way for you to enjoy a better weekend together. Hey, everybody, are you ready to have a fantastic weekend with your spouse?
Absolutely.
All right. So here we are going into the weekend, and we're going to be talking about one thing that only a man can give his wife. What's that? Proof that she is your priority. Is that how a lot of wives feel? Like they are the priority in the life of their husband?
Yeah, I don't think that they do. At least a lot of the women that I talk to, they feel like their husband thinks that they're a priority and want their wife to be a priority, but the choices they make or the decisions that they choose don't necessarily reflect that, or at least to make them feel that way.
Well, guys, you're married to a good woman, right? You're a good man.
But there's something good men forget when they're busy staying up late, getting up early, taking Saturdays to help others, postponing vacations one more day to give a hand to someone, maybe even canceling dinner plans with their wife so they can help a friend who called with a serious need.
Yes, there's something you are forgetting, right? This frenzy of needs, one thing you can count on. It's never going to stop.
So true.
And you aren't the only one paying the price for your readiness to drop everything and meet the needs of others. Your wife is paying that price right along beside you.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of our story at the beginning of our marriage in particular, because you were always rushing off to help people, and everybody got the idea that you were available. And not that they took advantage of it, but you ended up being kind of the first guy they'd call. And it was very hard from my perspective to be the selfish person to demand that you not go help them and stay home and sit on the back patio with me.
I wanted to be the first guy to call. Yeah. I love being there, helping, being somebody you can rely on, being the person that you know that if you called me at 2 a.m, I'd be there. I love being that guy. So I totally encouraged it. Nobody was taking advantage of me. It's just who I was, who I wanted to be. And I wasn't really mindful of you and your needs. And, when you have a good marriage, a lot of times you can always just kind of postpone things.
Yeah, the challenge it was for me was that it put me in the place of having to be the bad guy and demand from you attention or time. And I didn't want to be that person. Yeah, so how many times do you guys change plans to help someone else? I mean, how many times do you come home late because of commitments you made, or just always running late because of all the other people's needs that you're meeting?
So the fact of the matter is that as good men, as good women, right, this business of not making your wife a priority, it can build and it can build and it can build. And there's something that we just need to remember. We are not our own. When the Bible says the two shall become one in Mark 10:8, I think, it's not just a reference to what happens when the lights go out in the bedroom, right? Every decision that you make to meet the needs of others potentially compromises the time, attention, and connection that your wife needs and desires from you. Your decisions affect her every bit as much as they affect you.
I mean, sure, you're a good guy and she's a good woman, which means she won't overreact the first few times this happens.
Oh, this is so you, babe. I mean, so you. I just, this is our story, right?
Mm-hmm, it is.
And I think everything's cool because I'm going out again and helping somebody again, and you're there and you're being patient. And, after about the 37th time,
yeah, eventually the light in her heart will begin to dim as you attempt to meet the needs of everyone else but neglect hers.
Yeah, and that is how you felt, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's a huge mistake that I made early on, but we got it corrected, right?
Yeah.
We did address that. I had to change, and I had to get to a place where my wife not only hears me say that she is my priority, but she knows it based on the decisions that I made. Left uncorrected, your marriage bed will eventually grow cold. Not right away, but over time, by degrees, until you discover you've extinguished the sparkle in her eye and the life in her heart.
Yeah, your wife should have first place in your heart, and merely saying those words is just not enough.
Actions, all right? Actions are where your priorities are seen and felt. So meet her needs first, and you're going to discover something. She'll practically kick you out the door to fulfill your desire to be there for everyone else. So spare yourself a disconnected wife by saying no to these old patterns of meeting everybody else's needs, being the good guy with everybody else, and choose to mature in this area and recognize you are not your own. Now, babe, do you think there's another kind of guy too that maybe needs to change his priorities a little bit here too?
Well, the other category I can think of is the guy that overworks, and his job is always calling him. There's always something more to do, always, staying late, and that's also hard to argue with. And a lot of times that might be true and the woman needs to be understanding, but sometimes it's just a matter of telling work, no, I got to be home for my family.
Mm-hmm. And how about the more passive guy who's always meeting his needs?
And there's that.
Okay.
Yeah, because a guy will come home and he's maybe really tired from work, or he's had a lot going on, or he's stressed out. And so he feels like it's, hey, what about me time?
Right, exactly. And so we want you guys to have an awesome weekend together. So we want you to understand how important it is as men to make sure that your wife knows that she is number one priority with you, and she doesn't have to compete with all of the other priorities in life for your time. And so that's so important. So you guys ready for a discussion? Do you want to have a discussion going into the weekend? You really should, right? So find a place. It can be anywhere in your house, but just make sure it's a place that's undistracted from all of the noise and the needs of life. Find a place to have a conversation with your wife, just a quiet conversation. And maybe it's just date night conversation.
Yeah, just go for a walk, talk about these things.
Absolutely. Ask her this question. Do you feel like you are the number one priority in my life? Or do you feel like you have to compete, that you're just one priority among many?
Yeah, and I think another good question would be is like, what kinds of things would make you feel like a priority? Because sometimes I think a lot of times at least the men that we've talked to, they do feel like they're making an effort to make their wife a priority. She just doesn't feel that way because it's not the kinds of things that fit that category for her.
Absolutely. So listen, here we are going into the weekend. Make sure your wife knows that she's a number one priority with you. Have that conversation and have an awesome marriage weekend together.
Absolutely. God bless.
Bye-bye, everybody.